Themes are a sure way to add a vibrant touch to your apps. With Flutter's theming support, you can customize literally everything with only a few lines of code. What if you want to let your users change the themes on the fly though? At the very least, every app should support light and dark mode. One option is to hack something together using StatefulWidgets, but another option, and the better one, is to use the Flutter Bloc library to create an extensible and manageable theme switching framework. Hello, welcome to ResoCoder, where you are getting prepared for real app development by building better, faster, more stable apps. So subscribe and hit the bell if you want to grow your coding skills. In this tutorial, you are going to learn how to use the Flutter Bloc library to create an app which will switch between 4 themes, but of course you can extend this to switch between as many themes as you like. So we're gonna have green light, green dark, blue light, blue dark. It's gonna be all done in a very extensible manner. You will be able to build on top of this easily, and also the code itself will be very modular and readable. And be sure to check out the written tutorial from the link in the description, where you can also find all of the code written in this video, links to the libraries, and overall go through this lesson at your own pace. So let's get right to it, shall we? As the first thing after creating a new project, I just ran the material app command here, or snippet to be precise, from Awesome Flutter Snippets, so that we do not have all of that craziness that the default app comes with. And let's now go to pubspec YAML, and we are going to add 2 dependencies over here, which are going to be Flutter Bloc and also equatable. I'm going to use the pubspec assist VS Code extension, and if you want to learn about which extensions you should definitely use when you program with VS Code and Flutter, definitely check out the video from the card in the corner. So with pubspec assist, we can add a dependency. Just search for Flutter Bloc and add it. We want to add this one, and then also add another dependency which will be equatable. So let's add that. They're at versions 0.20 and 0.4.0. Again, all of this code and even these dependencies are available from the link in the video description, so you do not even have to use the pubspec assist or search for them on pub.dev. Once we save this, let's now create the basic scaffolding of this project. We're going to have multiple folders, and we're going to organize this in, again, an extensible way. So since we are working with UI, we're going to create a new folder here called UI. And inside of this folder, I'm actually going to enlarge this a bit. So we have UI, and then inside of this, since we are working with themes which are global, they are going to be applied to every single page there is in this app. Because as you can see in the example app, there are 2 pages, the home page and then the preferences page. So the themes are global, so therefore we are going to create a global folder here. So just like that. And then inside this global, there can be multiple things which are applied globally. For example, I don't know, when it comes to blocks, you can have authentication, which is also global because your users are probably going to be authenticated across all of the pages. So we cannot just, or we should not just put the theme block into the global folder itself. We're instead going to create another folder called theme. And well, that didn't work. So new folder theme. And then outside of global, we're going to create just new folders for home and also for preference. All right, so before anything else, I'm going to scale this down again. And let's first decide on the themes that our app will use. Of course, you already know which themes we'll be using. There are gonna be 4 themes: green light, green dark, and blue light, and blue dark. So let's now create a new file called app themes inside the theme folder. So app themes.dart, and this will hold all of the configuration for the themes, which then we can use in our material app here, which takes in a theme, so which is of type ThemeData. So usually you would specify the theme directly in here, but we aren't going to do that. We are going to have multiple ThemeData objects in that app themes.dart already predefined, so we can just plug them in to this material app through the block, which will provide them to this UI stateless widget. So inside app themes.dart, we basically want to have a final map app theme data, which will be a simple map. And now we could do the naive approach and just map these themes or theme data objects to their name strings. So we could have something like green light, and then just map it to theme data. Of course, we need to import it from material.dart and just specify the brightness to be brightness.light, and then specify the primary color to be from colors.green. Of course, we could do something like this, but it would not be all that great. Why? Well, as soon as you start adding more themes, this string key of this map will soon become hard to use, because you will have to remember all of the names yourself. Of course, you can do some constant strings here, so you would have const like green light and so on, and you would assign it to this string, but constants are not cool either. We have something better in Dart, and that is enums. So with enums, we can just create an enum here, app theme, and it's going to have green light, then also green dark, and then it's going to have blue light, and also blue dark. The keys inside a map can be literally of any type. We can also use the type of app theme. So it's gonna be app theme dot green light, and it's gonna be assigned to what we already have here. And then let's just copy this below 3 more times. And we're going to change this to green dark. And of course, if you do not want to fill this out yourself, you can always get the code from the written tutorial from the link in the video description. So this will be green dark, brightness dark, and the green shade will be 700, not 500. That's the default if you do not specify any shade yourself. And then this will be blue light. So it will be colors blue, and then this will be blue dark, and colors blue 700, and also it will be dark. So with this all set, we are done with the app themes file, and this is the stepping stone to having clean and readable code, because without this we would need to remember all those keys, those string keys ourselves, and it would become a huge mess over time. So now that we have the custom themes created, we can move on to create a way for the UI to initiate and also to listen to theme changes. Because, of course, inside the preferences, this is where the theme change will be initiated. But then we will have to listen to this theme change, not from the preferences screen, but from the main.dart material app, because this is where the global theme is applied after all. And this is the perfect use case for block, because without the block, the code would become really messy. This means that now we are going to create a block and we are going to call it theme block. So again, we can use an extension for VS Code, which is called just simply block. So just search for it on the extensions tab. It comes from Felix Angelov. Install that. There is also an extension for IntelliJ, respectively Android Studio, but it's not really updated as much, so I don't know if it will work with the newest version of Block, but this one is updated all the time because Felix Angelov is probably smart and he uses also VS Code for Flutter development, because VS Code is the thing when it comes to Flutter development. We can now use this extension by right-clicking on the theme folder here, and we're going to select from this menu block, new block. It's down in the menu, and we can now input the name for the block. So let's just say theme, all in lowercase, and let's add it there. And we're going to select yes, because we want to use the equatable package to override equality comparisons, because as you probably know, Flutter uses referential equality by default, but we want to have value equality. So we're going to say yes to use equatable. And now a new folder has been generated inside the theme folder. So it's called block, and it has 4 files: block, theme event, and theme state. This first block file is just a barrel file which exports all of the other ones, but those other files are actually what we want to now modify. So let's start off with theme event.dart. Also, if you are new to the block library or to the block pattern in general, check out the tutorial from the card in the corner, which will explain everything in depth. Inside theme event, we want to have just one event, and it will be called ThemeChanged. So let's create a new class, ThemeChanged. It's going to extend theme event, and it will have just one field, final app theme. And app theme is of course of our enum type, so we need to import it from appthemes.dart. So this can be the green light, green dark, and so on. There is only this one field because after all, what else do we need to really keep track of when we are changing themes? We just need to keep track of the theme, which will be the newly selected theme. And then we of course need to assign or put this field into the constructor of ThemeChanged. So we're going to use named parameters, which are going to be required. And we're just going to set this.theme. And then since we are using equatable from the superclass, we need to pass in the properties or the fields of the class over to the superconstructor of equatable, because that's how it can determine value equality, and we do not have to do it ourselves then. So we're just going to call super and pass in all of the fields of this ThemeChanged class in the required way, which is a list containing all of the fields. And since we have only one field, there will be only the theme field passed in. Events are the things which come into the block. Then the block will perform some logic, and there will really not be much of it in this tutorial when we are just setting themes. But then once the logic is performed and block determines something based on the event coming in, it will then output a state, and this state will arrive in the UI. So inside the ThemeState.dart file, we already have some abstract base class, and then we have initial theme state. Similar to theme event, we are gonna again have just one state, but this time we're not gonna have a special class for it. So we can even delete this initial theme state, and actually we are going to use the theme state class itself to hold all of our states. So we have to make it concrete and not abstract. So let's delete the abstract keyword. You of course can create a separate class just like with the theme event where we have ThemeChanged class. But with the state, it doesn't really make sense because while you can have multiple events which change the theme, for example, you can have when a new data is received from the API and that data contains some value, you want to have some theme change. So you can have some new class again here, just if we were to copy it and have data arrived from API. So this can again change the theme. But with the state, we are not going to have any really multiple states possible here because there can only be one theme state which holds the theme itself. So it doesn't make sense to have multiple theme states. So it's going to only hold one final field of type ThemeData because ThemeData is the thing which can be used in the material app to set the theme globally. So final ThemeData. Again, let's import the material. So impm coming from the awesome Flutter snippets, and it's gonna be called ThemeData. And now, since this is not really a superclass of anything anymore and it's not abstract, we can remove this list props and instead pass in all of the fields to the superclass equatable ourselves. But first we have to set the field in a named constructor. So it's going to be required this.ThemeData and then pass ThemeData over to the super constructor inside a list again. All right, now that we have the things which will come into the block and out of the block, we can now implement the block itself. So inside ThemeBlock.dart, we first want to change the initial state. And what is it going to be? Well, we have only one state after all, so it has to be the ThemeState. But now comes the question, what is going to be the initial theme data? Well, we have all of the theme data already preset inside the app.themes.dart file, and it's inside the map called app.theme.data. So we can just use the enum values here to get that precise data from this map. So inside ThemeBlock, we're going to specify app.theme.data to be from app.theme.data map, which comes from app.themes.dart. So let's import it over here. And we're going to access app.theme.blue or green light to be the default theme data for this app. And that's it. That's how simple it is to create theme states and to get hold of our predefined app theme data. And then the logic which will run whenever a new event comes into the block is going to be really simple. Since there can possibly be multiple theme events, we have to check for if event is of type ThemeChanged, and if it is, which it's going to always be in our case until you add some new events, then we are going to simply yield, so output a state from an async generator, and the yielded value will be ThemeState, and the theme data will be gotten again from app.theme.data map, and the enum value will now be dynamically gotten from the event itself, which holds an app theme enum value inside its theme field. And with that, we have the block implemented, so we can move on to the UI, and we are first going to implement the stuff inside main.dart. So inside main.dart, we want to listen to the outputted values from the block and change the theme accordingly. So again, to change the theme globally, we have to change the theme property on the material app to be some kind of a theme data, and we are going to get it from the block state. So the first thing that we are going to do inside this main build method of our app is that we are going to return a block provider, because we want to provide our theme block down the widget tree to every single page and widget that there is available in our app, because after all, we want to change the theme from a few pages down in the hierarchy, not even from the home page, but from the preferences page. And to make the block available even in this deeply nested page, we have to provide it to the whole material app, because otherwise, if you create new routes, it's not going to be available unless you wrap the whole material app inside a provider, which is basically an inherited widget. So let's actually cut out all of this material app code, and instead we're going to just return block provider, and we can use the block provider snippet coming again from the same extension called block for VS Code. So it's going to be block provider. Our block will be theme block. And let's import the whole UI global theme block block.dart, because that's the barrel file, which exports all of the other files together with it. And the child will be a block builder, because while block provider provides the block down the widget tree, block builder is needed here so that we can listen to the values outputted by the block, to the states, to be precise in the terminology, even inside this my app widget, so that we can then grab the theme value and apply it on the material app. So this block builder has to specify the type of block, and we can actually again use a snippet here. So why don't we do that? Block builder, theme block will be the block type. So theme block, and then the state will be ThemeState. And finally, inside the builder, we are going to return the material app. So let's paste that cutout code, which we have cut out previously. And of course, we also need to import Flutter Bloc.dart. And we have some problems because we don't have a semicolon at the end. And with this, we're all done. Of course, this has already become quite cluttered. It will be better if we move this builder method into its own separate named method. So let's right or click on this and say extract method. So hit Control and dot extract method. We're gonna call it build with theme. And let's do just that. Oh, it didn't extract what we wanted to extract. So let's do it again. We actually want to click on this thing. So not on the builder, but make sure that your cursor is on parentheses, of which specifies the parameters for this method. So your cursor should be somewhere in here. And now let's hit extract method. And now we can call it build with theme. It will be private, so underscore before that. And now it extracted it as we wanted. And of course, now the context and state are dynamic. For some reason, it didn't extract their types. So we'll have to specify them ourselves. So state is ThemeState and context is build context. All right, and now what we can do to set the theme globally is to just set the theme on the material app, which will come from state.ThemeData. It's as simple as this. Now, of course, we are only listening to the state changes, but we are not changing the state anywhere because we are not setting the themes anywhere. So for that, we have to create the preference page from where the users will be able to change the theme. But before that, just to have a more realistic UI, let's create a home page just to create some middle layer where we can have this settings thing. And also to demonstrate that it is really applied to the whole app, because as soon as you start using Navigator to navigate between pages and you do not wrap the whole material app with a provider, it's not going to work. So let's create a homepage.dart inside the home folder. And inside here, we are going to have a stateless widget, which is not going to do anything fancy. So I'm going to just copy and paste it. And again, be sure to get this code from the link in the video description. I really do not want to bore you with writing this code on video. So we are already importing a page here which doesn't currently exist, but so that you can see what this homepage will do, it just has a scaffold with an app bar which has actions on it. So this button in the corner, which will be an icon button settings. And when it's pressed, it's just going to use the navigator to navigate to a new page, which is the preference page, which we are going to create in just a bit. And then it has just some text here. And now we can use this home page to be the home of our material app. So we're not going to have a scaffold in here, but instead a home page. And let's import it from UI homepage.dart. Now comes the thing which we are the most interested in, and that is the preference page. So let's create that. So again, it's going to import material because we of course need it to build any kind of a UI in Flutter, at least when you are building material UIs. And it's gonna be a stateless widget. So stateless widget from Flutter, call it preference page. And in here, we are again going to return a scaffold, which will have an app bar, but this time it's just going to be an empty app bar, which will have only a title with the text of preferences, just so we know on which page we are located. And then the body of the scaffold will be where the interesting stuff happens. So it's gonna have just a list view builder. So list view.builder, which will have a padding, edge insets all 8, so that it's a bit spaced out. And now what we wanna do is to somehow get the item count of our themes. So we have 4 themes, and we can dynamically get this value of 4 from the app theme enum value, or enum something. It's not a class really, because enums in Dart are somewhat unfortunate. Unlike in some other programming languages like Kotlin, enums in Dart are not really classes. But anyway, we can specify the item count from the app theme, which is the enum. So let's import that. And we can get the values then, which will be a list of all the enums. And since this is a list, we can get its length, right? And then inside the item builder of this list view, which takes in a context and also an index, the current index, which is being built, we're just going to store the app theme for the currently built item inside a value here, or variable, final variable, just so that we do not constantly have to access the value from a list. So item app theme is equal to app themes again, and the values, and get the current index. And now we want to use this cached app theme to do something in the UI. So we are going to have a card, so return card, which will have its color set to be the color of the app theme, which is going to be selected. So let's set it to, and now we have to access app theme data, which is the map, because that contains the theme data which we are interested in, which provides us with all of these nice values. So app theme data, item app theme is the key for this map because this is the enum value. And then we want to access the primary color on it. So this is going to be the color of the card. And then the child of the card will be a simple list style, which will have title, which will be a simple text. And this text will come from the item app theme, which is the enum value again. And we want to convert it to string. So it's just going to say app theme.green light, app theme.blue light, and so on. Of course, you can populate this with your own text. You do not have to use the enum to string, but this is just the simplest option to choose here. Of course, add a semicolon so that it can be formatted. nicely. And then it's important to use the style property on this text, actually not on the list style, of course. So go to the text, add a comma and add style. And it's important to use this because we want to have white text on the cards, which represent the themes which are dark, right? If that makes sense. You can see what I mean on the screen right now. So this style will have to be set because otherwise everything, all of the text would be just white when the current theme is dark, and it will be dark if the current theme is light. We do not want that. We want to have the text color to be as if the theme which is to be selected were already selected. So the style will come from app theme data again, select the item app theme, and then we want to get the text theme and get the body one, which is the default text style. But now it's going to be colored accordingly. And finally, we want to change the theme whenever the card is tapped. So on tap, we'll just run simple code where we are going to get the theme block using the provider. So block provider. Let's import it from flutterblock.dart. We want to use the inherited widget syntax. So off, as we are already used to from all of the different libraries which use inherited widget, behind the curtains. So theme block is the type of the block which we want to get. We have to import it therefore. And let's import the whole barrel file. So block.dart file, just so that we can dispatch a ThemeChanged event, which will contain the theme which is going to be set for the whole app. And it is, of course, the item app theme, which is the theme of the currently built list item. All right, so now if we launch this app, we are inside the new app and we can set the themes from the preference page. So you can already see that the default theme is not the default blue Flutter theme, but it's instead green theme. So we can select green dark, right? We can select blue light, and we can also select blue dark, and it all works. And because, for example, the background and the app bar is animated, it uses something like animated container behind the scenes, I would guess. It animates nicely between the transitions of the colors. And if you'd like to learn how to do animations yourself, definitely check out the video from the card in the corner. Now, of course, once this app is closed, the selected theme will not be remembered on the next launch, but you can use any kind of a persistence library to save this selected theme and use it on subsequent launches. You would just save it inside the theme block here. So whenever the theme is changed, you would save it using your preference library of choice, and then you would use that saved value for the initial state, and it would work just fine. You can use any kind of a preference library such as simple preferences or even Sandbast and Moore, about which I have a tutorial, and you should definitely check out Moore because it is an awesome library for simplifying SQL-Lite operations on Flutter. It's not as low level as SQF-Lite. It's somewhat high level. If you're familiar with Android programming, it's something like the Room library for Android, so definitely check out that tutorial. But anyway, in this tutorial you'll learn how to switch between themes using the Flutter Bloc library, and this will enable you to create even more beautiful apps and also to keep your code clean and organized, because as you can see, we didn't create any kind of a mess in our code base. We really adhere to the core principles, use the block pattern together with the Flutter Bloc library, and the code that we have created is just awesome. If you do not want to miss more tutorial like this, where we are really building clean apps, definitely subscribe to this channel and also join the notification squad by hitting the bell button to make sure you grow your Flutter coding skills, because here on ResoCoder I am determined to provide you with the best app development tutorials and resources out there. If this video helped you with implementing theme switching using Bloc, give it a like and also share it with other Flutter developers who will surely benefit from it as well. Follow me on Instagram, I go under the name ResoCoder everywhere. Leave a comment if you have anything to say, any suggestions or questions or really anything. And see you in the next video.